Hey everyone, my name is Chloe, and I'm just getting on to film this little intro to say welcome to part 2 of Facebook Chooses My reading, I guess. And so at the beginning of the year, I put out the template that was like 12 books, recommending me your favorite 12 books, and I got a ton from Facebook, and so I narrowed it down, and I filmed part 1 and realized I was going to have way too much footage, so I split this into 2 parts. So this is part 2. So if there are any books that I kind of teased in the first part that you want to see what I think, stay tuned. I read most of them, so yeah, I'll just roll into that footage. Hey everyone, so I am midway, well not midway, I'm like maybe a third of the way through The Kitchen House, and I'm liking this one for what it is. So this is a Civil War time story about a young girl who is in this family, I guess, and it's a white family, and she is working in the kitchen house, and it's just kind of the family and like the family of people that work there, and as well as the family that they're working for. And so far it's kind of slow, but it's good. So I just wanted to get on and let you know that's what I picked up. We are in the middle of like so much this week. One daughter got diagnosed with strep on Tuesday, the other one on Friday, and my almost 3-year-old is the one who was on Friday, and so she had a lot of GI issues with it, which I guess is a thing, especially because she had such a high fever. And so like we went to urgent care and unexpectedly vomited everywhere, and so I left urgent care in a camisole and pants that were covered and a bag full of clothes, and then I was cleaning it out of every surface. I ended up having to just throw away my purse because it was every nook and cranny. So we have had a really rough week, and then now my husband is at urgent care because he thinks he's got it, and so I've got 2 or 3 kids sitting right here and probably a lot of noise, so it has been a doozy of a week, but I'm slowly but surely reading. It's not enough to like pique my interest that if I set it down that I'm like super intrigued to pick it back up, just because it is kind of slow paced, and I'm liking our main characters, but it's just really slow paced. So there's that. That's kind of historical fiction in a nutshell though. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Hey everyone. So we are about to go for a family walk because you guys, it was 20 degrees this morning, like 20 degrees, and now it's 52 and beautiful. So we are going to go for a quick family walk, and I just wanted to get on and let you know that I finished The Kitchen House. And when I updated on Sunday, clearly I was wrong about a lot of things, but this book is pre-Civil War, so it's like late 1700s or 1700s, early 1800s, and our main character, Lavinia, she is a little white girl who was orphaned, I think, on a ship coming over from Ireland, and so she gets like put in with the slaves of the time, and she finds family. And like I saw in a review that somebody compared this to The Help, and it really has nothing to do with The Help except for that like people binding together in hard times. And I loved that. And you really like fall in love with Lavinia as well as the other people in the kitchen house. And we watch her as she kind of develops into being unsure of who she is. Like she's white, and so she gets placed in like the big house and like starts to become one of the white people, but she also, her family is the slave family. And so it's really like, this is a very hard book. It is definitely like there's a lot of incest and just really, really hard topics. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this to everyone, but if you are a fan of historical fiction and don't mind like a slower paced book, this was awesome. So I'm going to give it 4 stars. Definitely hard-hitting, definitely not something you'd want to read a ton of. Like now I need something light and fluffy, but it was enjoyable for what it was. Definitely slow-paced, and so and definitely hard. Definitely really, really hard. Lots of loss and lots of just hard stuff. So 4 stars on that. So now I'm going to start the Time Out series by Emma Murray, just because it is completely, like, I've heard it compared to the Class Mom series. It is about, like, it's just like that mom comedy. So I'm excited, and we'll see what it's like. Hey everyone, so we just did story time, and now we're at Whole Foods doing a pickup, and I thought it'd be a good time to get on and let you know that I have finished the Time Out book by Emma Murray. And I honestly, I had really high hopes for this, and I gave it 3 stars, I think, because it was just, I've read a lot of this, and this one did not do it as well as others. It's about a woman who is a ghostwriter for like other authors, and she gets this deal to like write a book about motherhood. Well, she has never felt like natural at motherhood. She's not a huge fan of motherhood. She's got one little kid, and just it's not her thing. So she feels really out of her wheelhouse about that. And the book is just her friend, and that's about it. And like I said, I don't normally mind like slice of life kind of motherhood things, but I didn't really find it funny, and I didn't find our main character overly like charming or anything that made me like want to keep reading about her. So it's a 3-book series, a trilogy, and will I continue? Maybe. Not today, not anytime soon. Will I recommend this one? Not necessarily. There's a lot of books that do a lot better. So that's my thoughts on that. I don't really have anything much to say because there just wasn't much. So another book down, and I'll let you know.
Your phone is not connected yet. Please try again in a few minutes.
I just pushed a button with my elbow, I guess. But I'll let you know when I pick something else up. Hey everyone, so I have started Wish You Were Here by Jodi Picoult. So this is the Jodi that I'm going to read. The list was Mad Honey, Wish You Were Here, or A Spark of Light. All of those were recommended to me. My friends know that I love Jodi. And they love Jodi, I guess. But this is the one I'm going to read because I have it on Libro FM, and I am liking it so far. It is about a girl, a woman and her maybe almost fiance. I think he's planning to propose. They're planning to go on a trip to the Galapagos Islands, and it is March 13th, 2020 that they are planning to leave. And he is like a medical resident, a doctor of some sort. And obviously COVID's about to break out. And so his like supervisor or whatever says, like strongly advises that he doesn't leave because stuff's hitting the fan. They live in New York City, and it's hitting the fan, and that he needs to stay and take care of people. So he's like, you still go because we've already paid for it. Everything's done. And then I'll know you're safe. Like you're on the Galapagos Islands. The exposure risk is obviously a lot lower, all that kind of stuff. So she's like, okay. So she goes, and she goes, and stuff is shutting down. The hotel is not willing to take her, and things are shutting down. And so so far I'm really interested. Feelings-wise, though, I'm having a lot of feelings because part of me is like, this is almost too soon. It's April 2023, and we're still kind of dealing with COVID stuff. And so I don't know. And just like remembering in March of 2020, I was pregnant. I don't know how many months pregnant I was. 7. Like I was super pregnant, and because my daughter was born at the beginning of June. And so like the anxiety over hospital shutdowns and like hospital rules and exposure risks and not being able to have my husband with me and all that kind of stuff, like the anxiety was so high. And like in this book, they're talking a lot about how they think it's going to be like a 2-week thing. And just remembering that, and like I remember checking the COVID numbers daily, checking the hospital stats, like the hospital like in my county and all of that, checking all of that all the time. And so like reading this is almost anxiety inducing for me, of like, you had no idea. And like how, like we're kind of on the other side. So like, how did that happen? And how did we shut down? And so many people, myself included, like our view on the world changed. And so seeing that about to happen is really anxiety inducing for me. The other part of me, though, like it's like contradictory, because she is by herself on the Galapagos Islands, and yeah, she has to figure out a place to stay. Her luggage got lost. Like things aren't going great for her. But I'm also like, I am a mom to 3 kids under 5, and 2 of which don't sleep through the night. And currently, today, I think I'm running on less than 4 hours of sleep combined throughout the night, like in hour-long chunks maybe. And so like the idea of going to the Galapagos Islands and being by myself is oddly appealing, even if my kids are with me. But like having nothing to do and being on an island sounds lovely. So part of me is like, I want to be enjoying this for her. The other part of me is like, whoa, you have no idea. This is bad. And so it's interesting. It's interesting because I don't know which tension I feel more of. I think I feel the COVID tension more than the like I wish I was there because it sounds relaxing. But yeah, so that's what's going on. It's interesting to see the like medical perspective. There's not a whole lot about it, but just seeing how, you know, there was like hazmat suits and all that kind of stuff. And we have had COVID once. And for us, it was very minor. And I know we're like, everybody is not that lucky for sure. And it's just interesting to see that now, like my daughter was sick this last little bit and they test her for COVID, they test her for strep, they test her for flu. Like it's just kind of one of the things now, and how reactive we were and how much fear mongering there was. And again, not to say that some of it wasn't justified, but I don't know. It's just like got me thinking about like how the last 2 years have been, or 3 years have been. Gosh, 3 years. So, yeah, that's it. I'll check in later. Hey everyone. So it is Monday. I don't know if I've been talking about what day it is as we go, but it's Monday and my mom and dad just got up here. And so I like fully planned to just like pass off the kids and do all the things that I've been wanting to do, mainly go through stuff and take it to Goodwill while they're here. But what I didn't realize is that like they go on vacation for most of the winter, honestly. And so Etta, my baby, she's deep in the stranger danger stage. And so I didn't account for that. So all morning we've been out walking and just trying to get her acclimated, like to realize her grandparents are not strangers. But, yeah, so that's what we've been doing. But last night I finished Wish You Were Here. And I feel like I have a lot of thoughts and I'm not sure what to rate it. So, my first clip, I don't remember how far I was into it, but I definitely realized that that clip was from a perspective 3 years removed. After reading the rest of the book and being like into it, it just brought back all of the anxiety and like how bad COVID really was at first and how hard it was hitting people. And like when we got it, we got a variant. And you know, it's just the unpredictability of it is just terrifying. And remembering those days of like, it's going to be 2 weeks, it's going to be 2 weeks more. And like, I don't know. There are definitely, if you want zero politics in your book, I would say don't pick this one up because there are definitely comments on the way it was handled by our president. And so, you know, I don't know. I have my thoughts on that, but like I said, I don't want this to like be a political conversation. So, just be wary. If you don't want any political content, maybe skip this one. It was interesting too. There's a big author's note at the end, that Jody wrote in March of 21. So 1 year after the start of all of that. In March of 21, things had gotten better. We were out of it, but we were not out of it by any means. And we're still not out of it. But life has almost resumed like a normal way with exceptions. But anyway, so it was just really interesting to hear her perspective, like hear the book that she wrote during the pandemic and her thoughts then thereafter. She struggles with asthma, and so she has been really scared of it. And just, she kind of likened it to like, where were you basically March 14th, 2020 is very similar to when 9/11 happened, when JFK was shot, all those things. And like, it's just interesting the trauma that so many people have incurred from this pandemic. And it's just mind-boggling. But that's not what the book is necessarily about. The book is really about, so the first half at least, is her stuck on the Galapagos Islands. And it is not, like I said, I kind of was jealous. Like I was not sure if I was jealous. Well, she gets there and it's basically a ghost town. And she doesn't speak the language. She doesn't have anything. And for me, like the idea of going somewhere and being alone is appealing. But like alone as in I'm not responsible for anybody. If I was truly isolated, that would be the quickest way to drive me insane, honestly. Like I need people. I need like events, I need noise. Like in college and stuff, I always went to like a busy coffee shop to study because I just, silence and solitude stresses me out, honestly. I would like to have a break from like being responsible for people, but you know, whatever. So that's the first half of the book, and then something happens that I'm not going to talk about, but the whole moral of the story, like the first half of the book, I've seen some complaints that it's a little slow, and it kind of is, but it's just setting that isolated tone. And she's talking to her boyfriend, who is a resident dealing on the front lines of this stuff, and so you're getting really like the tension of it. And the book in general is just about live every day as if it's your last. You don't ever know. You don't ever know, you know, and just live life as if it's your last day, you know, and that is something to really think about. This book definitely made me think. It was not really pleasant to read at because of like the anxiety. It brought back the anxiety so real, and you could tell that like Jodi herself was feeling the anxiety because it just comes through on the pages. And I don't know, I liked it. Did I enjoy it? I don't know, you know. And our main character is just okay. I like her enough, but I thought it was just interesting to hear how the story came about, and all the real life like case studies she dug into, and just all of the external side effects of COVID and of the pandemic. And yeah, I could go on and on forever, because I feel like this is something that is just like, it mind boggles me that happened, and it's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, yeah. So now I've started Not So Meet Cute by Megan Quinn, and I am liking it so far. It is like a little crass and a little smutty. I knew that going in, that it probably was going to be. And I saw a video, it might have been Audrey from Chapters and Converse that was talking about it. Like, no, it wasn't. It was a book like you. Yeah, it was her talking about, she was reading Verity. And Verity, if you guys have not read it, is just a very, there's a lot of sexuality in that book. And it didn't bother me at all. Like, I thought it was really good. And I wondered why, like, because she was kind of in the same, she does not like smutty stuff. And she was kind of the same. And for me, and when the whole point is the relationship, the smut feels gross. But when it's like, I don't know, it doesn't bother me in thrillers and stuff in the same way. So I don't know, mind boggle that. But anyway, back to Not So Meet Cute. So there is some smut and stuff, and I'm not liking it. And you can just kind of skip over it. There's not been like bedroom scenes yet. That just the way they talk is a little smutty. But it's a relationship of convenience. He needs he told like this potential client that he has a pregnant fiance, despite the fact that he has nothing like that, and she needs a boyfriend for some reason. And so they're kind of conveniently dating for the sake of their different agendas. And it's fine. It's cute. I mean, she writes really good, like rom-com-y stuff. So I'm enjoying it so far. The other update that I have for this vlog, this is going to be so long, but is that Fantastic Land, I started it on, like I can't get an audio copy. I can't get a physical copy, but there is an ebook copy on Hoopla. I hate reading books on Hoopla ebooks because you can only infinite scroll, and that stresses me out, especially with longer chapters. And you can't do it on Kindle, none of that. So you have to read through the Hoopla app, and I don't love the Hoopla app. But anyway, I started reading it, and honestly, I don't think I'm going to read it. It's not like a hard DNF or anything wrong with the book. I just am not going to read it because the first chapter scared me, honestly. It is a horror book about like a fantastic land, which is like a Disneyland kind of thing. Hurricane Sandy strikes, and it's in Florida. And like they're all these teenagers that run the place are trapped in there, and they become savages. And I like the first chapter kind of scared me, and like I've been having a lot of nightmares lately, and I don't know why. Honestly, generally the only time I even really dream is if I'm pregnant, and I'm definitely not pregnant. But I've been having a lot of nightmares lately, and so this is just like I could see this feeding that. Like, yeah, it's talking about the savageness of humans and just what we would do with isolation and debris and all. Like, I don't know. It just feels like I'm not in a good headspace to pick that up. So I'm not going to be reading that. So the books left are A Not So Meet Cute and Stillwater Girls. So I will update when I have more to say about A Not So Meet Cute. Hey everyone, so it is the next day, and my parents are still here until this evening, and they're this afternoon or sometime, I don't know, but so I just went to Goodwill with as much as I could like sneak into my van without anybody noticing. And so I went to Goodwill and ran by the library just to do drop off and pick up by myself. So I figured I would take the opportunity to go ahead and update you on A Not So Meet Cute. So I hated this book. I gave it 2 stars, and some of you probably saw this coming. So the book is, I don't know what I said, marriage of convenience or relationship of convenience. That's not what it was. It's a fake dating situation, which is probably what you guessed based on how I described it. But she worked for like a good friend who has always taken advantage of her. And so her family was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Well, she did it, and her friend fired her. So now she doesn't have a job. And, she wants to keep that secret. So she's looking for a wealthy boyfriend to take care of her. And he is trying to impress this potential client. And so he said, oh, I have a pregnant fiance too. No, he doesn't. So they are pretending to be each other's, things that fill those voids. So, okay, great. Well, I did not like that, like the power imbalance continues throughout the book so much. And like to the fact that he puts all of her clothes in storage and gives her a specialized wardrobe of what she can wear, including like her nightwear is like lingerie and stuff. And she's like, wait, where are my big t-shirts and whatever, whatever. So I didn't like that power imbalance, and I didn't like, she's supposedly like feisty and whatever, but like, whatever. I don't know. They also talk 1,000 times in the book about how tiny and petite she is, which is, I've heard a lot of people complain about that because it's so annoying. It is so annoying. Like to harp on somebody's size, regardless of what it is, over and over and over. It's stupid. And, I didn't really like either of our characters. The third act conflict was him being a jerk, and he's a jerk the whole time. Like, it's also kind of a grumpy sunshine thing because he's really wanting to keep this like business professional, but like not, but he's also sexting her a ton. And the amount of smut in this book is like terrible. It is terrible. And it starts relatively early in the book, and like there were whole chapters that were just, and it's like then you would get a little bit of like interaction, and then it would be a whole bunch of other smut, and it was just not good. It wasn't good. I didn't like it at all. I gave it 2 stars, and I feel really bad for the friend that recommended this. But also most of my in real life friends don't watch YouTube, or at least don't watch my channel, I don't think. So, they may never see this, but also just everybody has different tastes. And I generally have liked Megan Quinn in the past, but I've only read, I think, her baseball series, and I can relate more to that storyline because that was kind of my college experience. I dated a baseball player and whatever, that was all part of my world. So maybe that's it. I don't know. There wasn't that much smut in the one that I read either. But Steph from Steph's Romance Book Talk, if you're watching this, tell me, are they all this bad? Like smutty, steamy, whatever, insert words here. So, yeah, bummer on that one. Now I'm going to pick up Stillwater Girls and finish this vlog up because it's been going on a hot minute. So, this one is short. I know it's also on Kindle Unlimited to read and listen, so I can do it on audio. I really don't know what to expect out of it at all. I have no expectations, so I will let you know what I think. Tonight it's supposed to storm, which just fills me with dread and anxiety because I've got 2 kids, really. I mean, 2 kids who have storm anxiety, and so it's going to storm in the middle of the night. So we're just going to hope that they are asleep enough that it doesn't bother them. Otherwise, it might be a long night. And my 7-month-old, I think I talked about yesterday, she is in the heights of stranger danger. So I don't know if that's what it was. Like, she was just stressed out all day, but she was really needy all night. And so, like, I just need a good night's sleep, and I don't have high hopes that I'm going to get it tonight. So we'll just have to see how much reading I can get done. But I'll check in next time I have an update. Hey everyone, so this is the second time I've filmed this because my kids are all over the place. But it is that time of year where like it is freezing in the morning and then really nice in the afternoon. So right now it's early morning and it is freezing. It is Saturday right before Easter, and my sister and her family are on their way up. So I just wanted to talk about Stillwater Girls. I finished it and I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. So, okay, long story short, this is not a thriller. I would say this is not a thriller. It says on the cover, a thriller, and I firmly disagree that it is not a thriller. It is a family drama that has some mystery, some death, some kind of darker topics explored, but it is not a thriller because it's pretty slow paced. So it's about two sisters who are living in a cabin in the woods, out of civilization, and they have a third sister and a mother, and the mom has taken the third sister to town because she's sick and she has not come back. And so one day a man stumbles upon these girls and they feel threatened, so they run. So that's really all I want to say, because I went in pretty blind to this book and I really appreciated that. There is another perspective of a woman who is kind of paranoid that her husband's cheating and that she's got some story going on. But yeah, and the two paths obviously intertwine. So that's kind of what's going on. And like I said, there's mysterious elements, there's darker topics, but it is not what I would consider a thriller. Anyway, so yeah, I really liked it. My only complaint is that it's a little too short. I wish it would have given us more, either more perspectives or more details of the people's pasts and different things like that. I don't know. And then, minor spoiler, I'll put a little tag when I'm done saying it, but it has a trope that I really dislike, which is a woman driven crazy by grief. I think that grief can obviously make you do a lot of things, but I don't feel like you all of a sudden have no morals and stuff just because you're grieving. I don't think that is the case. So yeah, so that is everything for that. So let's wrap it up and see what my thoughts were. So I finished that actually a couple days ago. And so I ranked the books based on just my memory. I've been reading these, I feel for a while. And so I ranked them just based on my memory. And then I did the actual star ratings to see if it was the same, if I rated them appropriately, and I did. So my favorite, I think, was probably Wish You Were Here by Jodi Picoult, just because that one really emotionally impacted me, because it was about a topic that was so close to home. I mean, we've all just lived through COVID. We are still living through COVID. Many of us know people that we've either lost or have been severely impacted by COVID, directly by the disease, but we've all been impacted by the effects of it. So that one I feel just emotionally impacted me the most. And then Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent. So I really like that one a lot. Next is The Midwife's Confession by Diane Chamberlain. I like that one quite a bit. And then Everyone is Beautiful by Catherine Center. The first three were all 4 stars. Now, Everyone is Beautiful, I gave 3.5. Legacy by Nora Roberts, 3.5. Then The Kitchen House, 3.5. And I feel this is pretty accurate of the order that I like them in. Then The Timeout book by Emma Murray, and then A Not So Meet Cute. I did not like that. So I feel this one was more successful than Instagram. And someday I would like to do use my community tab and see you guys on YouTube. I feel would knock it out of the park. I feel you guys would know the best how to recommend books that I really like, and I love when you guys give me recommendations in the comments. I'm not going to do that vlog for now because I have not read off my shelves in a month and a half really at all, and so I'm going to take some time to focus on doing that instead. But that's it. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you've read any of these books. And thank you so much for watching. I will link down below the other video, the Instagram video, and part 1 of this. And that's it. We'll talk to you in the next one. Thank you for watching.